Namaskar, Assalamu alaikum, good morning. Today I have brought up one commercial term, LC. That means letter of credit. So letter of credit is a bank document that is usually used for the international trade, which is guaranteeing to the supply of funds upon submitting of agreed document by the seller at the right time. Now, this letter of credit also named as credit letter and documentary letter. So the bigger question is why LC? Why you want to use LC? So there are three major reasons. The first one is location distance, like buyer and seller. If they are far from each other, they may not know, they may not be sure the smooth transaction of equipment or the purchased item, and at the other hand, the seller may not be sure for their purchase value, for their sale value. So the LC is something that gives you the confidence. Then unknown personally, like buyer and seller, they are not knowing to each other. Then the third one is the different land of the law. Internationally, like in one country, the seller, what they thinking that this is the law, this is the ethics, cannot be valid where he is sending their equipment, sending their product. So in that case, the land of the law in the both country may be different, and that may cause problem in the latter stage. So LC guaranteeing the smooth transfer of the object as well as the sale deed value at the right time. Then LC types. How many types of LC? So there are, I think, 7 or 8 LCs, but among them 4 are much more in use. So first one is irrevocable LC, revolving LC, standby letter of credit, and irrevocable letter of credit. So among the first 3, occasionally used, but it is used in the international business, irrevocable letter of credit is mostly and the most standard form of LC. So if you want to apply the LC, the buyer has to approach to the bank. Buyer, in other terms, can we say the importer? Importer have to approach to their bank with the written application. That application must be followed by the pro forma invoice. If the pro forma invoice is missing, again your LC may delay. Upon receiving this both the document, the bankers making a draft, and that draft must be verified by the seller or the beneficiary bank. So in that case, when everything is fine, then LC is confirmed. If there is a discrepancy, then buyer has to give in written on the company letterhead that this is the amendment required, and after this amendment, LC taking place or LC being effective. But here in the LC there are 2 dates that is much more important from the seller side. The first one is the date of shipment. If you are missing, then you have to pay some of the charges, or maybe some of the discrepancy may be raised from the buyer side. Then the final date or the LC expiry date. If your product, if your items not reaching to the destination, so bill of lading cannot be submitted and LC may expire. So here the shipping document then shared with the issuing bank. So once you are reaching to the date of shipment and your shipment has been left their home country, you will get a bill of lading, and that must be shared with the buyer, and then buyer has to verify it that this document is correct.
Shipment dispatches from the source seaport. After a few weeks later, cargo reaches to the destination port. Buyer gets a cargo arrival notice. Here buyer has to submit agreed original documents like bill of lading, certificate of origin, insurance certificate, fumigation certificate, commercial invoice, packing list, warranty certificate, trial and inspection certificates which he receives from the seller by courier.
Here, at the sum of the country is processing for legalization. Like Gulf countries, if we are buying from the East or the Far East or the European country, they are saying that we don't know who the party is. So the bill of lading must be legalized. That means it should have the stamp from the embassy. So legalized document to only be accepted. So here two things are much more important. If you go to the first slide, you will see that buyer and seller, and both sides there is one bank. So buyer bank and the seller bank. So money is going not directly to the seller, money is going, funds are transferring, buyer pays to their bank in their country, and it is transferred to their seller bank or the beneficiary bank, and from this bank it goes to the seller. So in both sides the bank is guaranteeing that there will be no discrepancy, there will be no mismatch. Then if we talk about the advantage and disadvantage of the LC, so majorly there are 4 advantage and 4 disadvantage that I am going to cover. The first one, the first advantage of the LC is they create security and build trust. Like I said initially, that buyer may not know to the seller, as well as seller doesn't have confidence that if we ship all this shipment, do we get the right money at the right time. So this is giving security as well as the confidence. Then the second benefit makes it easier for the specification that this item you are looking for and this item you are receiving. Then it can be personalized. LC have the very good benefit that different LC, you can personalize different terms and condition. It's not fixed any terms and condition that it has to be, must be employed. Then can make transfer of funds. They are making, buyer or seller, both sides, they are making the easier transfer of the funds. If we talk about the disadvantage, however, there are disadvantage is not so important, not so critical, but there is some time consuming issue. The first one is like buyer has to bear all the cost of the LC. Then the second one, it may not cover every detail of the terms or transaction, or partially transaction is allowed but maybe sometime mismatch. Then establishing LC may be tedious or time consuming for all the party involved. Like here, if you are partially shipments are allowed, in that case there are 2-3 parties like shipper this side and shipper that side, both sides, so all the parties are involved. So there may be some time consuming, there may be some confusion. The fourth term, that is only, this is the pain, this all 3 is easily managed. But the fourth one is that LC may not account for unexpected change in the political or economical landscape. Political change is never considered or usually not considered in the LC terms. So if there is unexpected natural problems occurs in any side of the country, either buyer side or the seller side, this is delaying to the LC terms and condition, and both the party have to suffer for that. So in each condition, bankers will charge something to move forward. So that's all. How to cancel the LC? As I told, in the disadvantage of the LC that it does not consider any kind of delay. Either it is in control or not control. It is political issue, geopolitical issue, whatever the issue. LC date is much more important. If you are delaying, you have to pay fine. So to avoid the fine, they made the offline agreement and they wanted to cancel. So whoever the party want to cancel, either applicant or the beneficiary, they have to write an application on their letterhead, sign a stamp signature. Then the major factor is that only applicant can cancel their LC, can apply for the cancellation of LC. So if it is from the beneficiary side, they will write the reason on their company letterhead. They will submit for the record to the applicant. If the applicant agree, then he have to write application on their company letterhead to their bank. So the sequence starts like importer or the applicant, he initiate for the cancellation of LC by writing application to his bank. Then bank sent inquiry to the beneficiary bank and ask them, kindly make inquiry, kindly get confirmation from the sellers. If the seller will confirm this, the information will given back to the applicant bank, and then applicant bank will be cancel this LC. So LC cancellation process having the involvement of buyer, seller and both of the bank, then it is cancelled. Another one thing that here you have to pay attention, that LC confirmation having also the charges and LC cancellation have charges too. So in the both of the cases, two kind of charges, and that will be levied to applicant. So when they are making the agreement of LC cancellation, it is better that you clarify that how to share this, or the one party will bear this. That's all. Thank you very much.